Guys, welcome. I've been playing a few different playing a few different fires, trying to put out a few different fires. We've got the doctor who's agreed to hop on the show today. However, right as we were about to get everything up and running, we were on Skype, we were talking, everything's good, nice guy. Looks a little bit like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Mysteriously, his camera stops working, and then his computer boots to a black screen. I sense foul play. And Dark Boo's apparently mixing whiskey and coke, which I believe they call a whiskey coke. No, complaining about taxes. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Guys, welcome to Crowns and Crows. This is Season 3 still, Episode 6, though it's more going to be like Episode 5.5 because all we got over the past week was what the artwork is going to look like on the champion. We'll get some responses to that. I'm going to help the doctor get caught up, allow this to be kind of a let's talk about, just what's going on in Crowfall. I want to give him some time to really show up there. Here we might be making progress.
Okay.
Hey, there we
Can
go.
you hear me?
I hear you. Let me get you.
Good volume
Yeah,
now.
let me get you
I've
brought
adjusted some
in.
things.
Why is that
Uh,
different?
Also, what does not having Gamebox affect? Is that going to ruin everything? I'm just kind of
Oh
curious.
no, we're not doing GameFox. We're also
Okay.
live.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I need to resize this box. For now, people are just going to see your face.
Yay, my face.
That didn't
That's
work.
beautiful.
Yeah. And yeah, we're just gonna have fun with it.
Okay.
So, welcome, guys. You get to see the doctor's throat.
Yeah, and the top of my shirt. It
Yep.
looks beautiful.
When I talked you up so much in Slack too,
Yeah.
um,
It's just the suspense.
I know. Uh, they probably think this is all intentional.
It just so happened that I had to pick the most old and outdated laptop that I have because it's the only one that had both a webcam and a microphone slot.
Oh my gosh.
But it's
Man.
running, and I'm hoping it'll stay that way.
There we go. That wasn't that hard. Cool.
I don't know if I can watch this Twitch though, because it's so behind. That always gets me.
Oh yeah. No, it's I've there's no way I can show my screen, but needless to say, here we are.
Yay!
Welcome.
Beautiful.
I just did the intro. Your episode 6, season 3. We've been doing this more or less since Crowfall's been going. So and we talked about it. The doctor joins us. Welcome.
Woo! Here I am.
Now you've done a little bit of a little bit of streaming just with a family member or something.
Yes.
Do you intend to do that a little bit more going into Crowfall, or is that more of a little side hobby that comes and goes?
Yeah, that's a side hobby that has kind of died miserably. Just between the fact that I have too many hobbies, and I like to try and do them all, which is always a terrible decision. So, yeah, we do gaming not guaranteed, and it definitely wouldn't ever be a Crowfall pastime because the whole point of it is we fuck around and we give about no concern to the game being played, and Crowfall isn't exactly that kind of game.
Oh man. No, I mean it can be. You can go out there. You do the naked Zerg. You can do. There's you can go out there and have some fun.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, I love the competitive, hardcore. Go out there and smash faces with the next person, and everything required to do that. But it never hurts to just be able to go out and just have some fun and just fuck with people.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, So, I was explaining that we really don't have a whole lot of new content to cover. From our last episode, we really covered a lot about the champion and some of the effects that that's going to have on the PvP. We'll see how it goes. This week, we got what the champion's armor is going to look like.
Yeah. That big update.
Massive. I mean, I hope we can fit it into one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we can go over it, piece by piece and decide how we feel it suits him.
Yeah. So, first impression. I mean, we've got to talk about it because it is news. What did you think? What was the first thing that popped into your head when you saw it? Have you seen it?
Yeah. First thing is definitely the dude's right shoulder is seriously vulnerable. But beyond that, I mean, I like the look and feel. It's definitely unique. It's different than the others, but it still feels like it fits the lore. So I'm pretty cool with it so far.
Yeah. And that was one of the things they talked about. They said that it's supposed to be more of that gladiator type feel, and oh gosh, yeah, not Doc Gonzo. Oh man.
It's okay. I will forever be confused with
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
I am sure. But so it's more of that. He's not really there to soak up a lot of damage. He's there to have that mobility and the ability to lay down some pain. So. Yeah,
Right.
it was that. My first reaction was, man, didn't I see this in Guild Wars?
Yeah.
That was just. I'm sorry, guys, but it does feel a little bit like some of the warrior armor from Guild Wars. But then I had to think back. You know what? It's starting to get kind of like cartoons. I don't know if you watch South Park at all, but
Not recently,
not
but-
recently. Well, a while ago. I mean, we're talking probably 3 or 4 years, I guess, at this point. Which, by the way, welcome to being old.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel that one.
Oh man, they did an episode where it was someone trying to come up with. It was Butters trying to come up with the most evil, devious plan, and every idea he came up with. His little counterpart was reminding him that somebody on The Simpsons had already done that before, so it wasn't
Right.
anything new. And it was just so frustrating. But, at some point, I mean, stuff's going to be done before. So, to me, it's, can you do it right?
Yeah, I've always been not a big fan of, like, let's say where it came from as much as how well do you execute on it. I think I've discussed many times that we're at the point where good ideas have pretty much run out, except for people smashing other good ideas together and thinking they've come up with something new. So really, in general, it's all about how well you execute on it. And I'm not super concerned if especially across what are we at 13 archetypes now, like. Some of them are going to be similar to things in other games. It is just inevitable at this point.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're going to do a completely new take on, what sort of fighting styles there are, you don't get a lot of options.
Right.
I'm trying to think of if you do any sort of medieval stuff. I mean, what else can you do? So, hey.
Yeah, you really, and they didn't dive heavily into other fantasy races, which sort of limits them a little bit. I like though the ones that they have done that obviously haven't really come out yet, but the Stalker is pretty unique at this point.
The
I
Stalker.
haven't really seen a murder deer before in anything, so that is definitely impressive.
Yeah, the Fae is that was it. It kind of feels a little bit elfish, but not.
Right.
Elves usually aren't terribly stealthy.
Exactly.
But yeah. I also just
Also
convinced
and there's the
somebody to watch.
Ginnikian, of course, the duelist, the guinea pig rare.
Yeah. I mean,
certainly original.
they've come up with some good ones, and that's always nice. There was a time I asked him. I said, is it easier to build a completely new race and class and archetype around it, or is it easier to just follow the tried and true elf, dwarf, orc,
Right.
whatever other
exactly.
human, whatever the tried and true races are. And they said sometimes it's actually easier to do it the way that they're doing it, because now you don't have to try and fit skills into a mold. You can just build whatever you want. So
Right, exactly.
yeah, that was a nice approach. And so as we see something like the champion come out, kind of this brutish type archetype. Um, well, I don't even know what you'd call his race. Is he human?
I based on what they're saying about the size, I'm assuming he's some kind of like
Humanoid?
giant or half giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or he's a really tall human and they just happen to find really tall humans. Maybe it's some kind of genetic disease that happens and they all become champions. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
don't
it could be like Amazon. Well,
Right.
the Amazon type women, Amazon women, whatever. So, JG, welcome. It's good to see you. He and I rarely agree, but we are both pretty frequent of the Crowfalls. Um, so yeah, with that, I think they have a good mixture. You got a lot of the humanoid type um, people, and then some of the others less so. So, but yeah, I think probably, what do you think, the duelist has been the most popular so far?
In terms of like just pure interesting factor, I'd say that seems like something that's got everyone talking.
Yeah, probably. Um,
I'm dying to be the stalker though. I think it sounds exciting. I hope it's not too stealth oriented though, because I've never been big on the thieves. I just want to play a ranger where I like an archer. Actually, I'll put it more abstract. I just want to do range damage that neither involves pets nor standing still while I
oh my
wait for
gosh.
something to cast. I want to
Yeah.
run and shoot.
No one's done pets well. No one.
Uh, it's really, really. I never see it work out very well. I'm trying to even think if there's an example of one where I liked the pets.
Uh,
I
it
got
was it
nothing.
was useful in Guild Wars 1 when you played the Thumper build, because it added an extra knockdown. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember way back in the day I played World of Warcraft before I knew what, MMOs were in vanilla WoW, and I played the hunter and I literally did not use my pet. It stood there, it died frequently, I didn't care. And that to me was really fun. I enjoyed not of course not being a game that punished PvP in all aspects during vanilla because you couldn't even level during it. I spent it took me a year to hit 60 the first time because I sat in
Yeah.
battlegrounds so much. Uh,
It's a
all of my
good
friends
good
started
problem.
and beat me to 60, which led me to eventually conclude that WoW was just not the MMO for me. But at the time, I loved the hunter if you ignored his pet completely. It was so much fun because you were mobile, and you could keep a distance. You didn't have to just stand there and wait for something to cast. I'm the king of interrupting my own channels. That's something I don't do very well. So I like to just throw something and run away, or throw something and dodge.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a brilliant play style. Damage them when they can't damage you. You know.
exactly, exactly.
Mm.
I like to stay mobile. That's my number one skill in games is my mobility. Even when, not just MMOs, even playing Battlefield competitively for a little while, which I did about a year ago. I was the guy who could sneak up and get around people and follow the flow of battle. I was never the best shot. I was never the, best at timing or aiming. It was always how well I could move and how well I could get around people. And that's what I like to do. And most melee classes, you can do that, but
Yeah.
then you have to deal with the fact that you have to land just close enough that your attack cone hits and hope that it doesn't just whiff, which is also a frustrating thing in games.
In Darkfall, you actually had to kite your melee attacks. you constantly you were always moving. You never stopped, because if you
Right.
stopped, I mean, you're just going to get nicked. I say nicked, nuked by archers could hit you, even though a few people were playing archers. But I mean, you just became an instant target, because all they had to do is just point their reticle at you and click a few buttons, and you've got fire erupting around you. So it was this
Yeah.
constant. People figured out it was a figure eight type. I mean, it would be brilliant to track just the movement, because people would run past
Right.
each other, swing like one or two times, try and catch the person, and when you get hit, it kind of shakes things a little bit, and then as you're running by, you turn around and see if you can hit them again, and then you just do this dance. And there are some guys who are really good at it, and it's what allowed melee to be a skill-based environment where you could. I mean, I've seen one guy. I mean, one guy took on 8 or 9 different people, and admittedly using terrain and kiting the fight as a whole. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
when that takes place, that's a lot of fun. Unless, of course, you're the 8 or 10 people, at which point now you're questioning, why should I even be playing this game if it's taking 8 of us?
It's
Um,
always been a tough balance in games, I think, between getting it so that mechanically one person can take on an army and succeed, but not balance wise, you know?
mhm.
I always think I think a game has done really, really well if, due to mechanical skill and knowledge, you can go against the odds and win.
Yeah.
But then it's also horrible if, due to, levels and items or whatever,
Oh man.
you just can't do anything against someone who's too strong. Like, that's the worst.
Did you play Arcade? I think you played Arcade for a little bit, didn't you?
No,
Oh,
I
you didn't get into that
don't.
one?
I
Good
don't think
call.
so.
Good call. That was a massive waste of time. Uh, Arcade was one of those games where you could make up for maybe one level of gear, but once you started getting down to 2 or 3 levels of gear, it would take not just skill, but a little bit of luck to try
Right.
and overcome that disadvantage. But yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And my best friend and I used to play Battlefield 2142, and we always said
it's
that
a
was
good
the
one.
best Battlefield because it was the one that emphasized team play and certain skills to such a degree that you could go, like 10 and 100,
Yeah.
well, 110. Uh, and we used to do that. The two of us would go, and because we kept up on the revives, we just mowed down people, and that was always great. But so many people, of course, hate that. They want to go in and have a fair fight, which, of course, we hope Crowfall is not that kind of game. We hope it's the
Yeah.
kind of game where people who know what they're doing can outplay, can have some mechanics and some tools at their disposal to severely outplay the
Oh yeah.
players who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That, and you have to play to your strengths. Just because you have, this won't be Crowfall, but just because you have the elite, tier 8 Uber
Right.
loot drop that you spent a year and a half, trying to do, just because you have that, you're not going to win. Because
Exactly.
if you're an archer, you get into melee range against a champion, yeah, he's probably going to wreck you. I mean, it won't be pretty. You're on the wrong side of the tracks. Get back to the nice part of town, all right? That is what I think is going to make Crowfall awesome. And when I think of ways that they can really just fuck that up, it comes down to, if combat becomes too static, if people are not able to use that sort of mobility, what it's going to be is, the melee aren't going to be able to get into range with the range folk. If the range folk, I don't know, I'm saying folk, but if the range folk, they don't have mobility, they won't be able to get away, and it's just a really rough balance. And so, if they can't figure that out to make it enjoyable for everyone in the right environment, you're just going to end up with another bad PvP game, which tends to be the norm that we see now.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a little bit of gaming, a little bit of champion armor, and let's talk a little bit of stuff. Have you picked up on this Costume, Cawstume.
No, I have just completely
You know, I
ignored it.
feel like you would make a fantastic like female confessor. I think
Oh
you could
yeah,
pull that. I could think you pull off the female confessor
I think I'd be pretty
pretty
solid
well.
at the drag. I'm
Yeah.
I feel like I could pull that off for sure.
um, I have never done anything like this before, and I check my blank DC. Oh, maybe I have no clue what Cryptic's talking about. Either way, I've never done this before. All right, never have I made a costume. Never have I even considered any sort of costume, any contests. The closest
Yeah.
I did was I threw on a blazer and a black fedora, and my friend and I went as the Blues Brothers. All right, that's about the extent of how much effort I've ever put into a costume. So, needless to say, Crowfall did this, and I said, you know what? Maybe this isn't a bad idea, but I've never done this before. It seems like a challenge. You
Right.
could win $1,000 Crowfall account. I
That is
mean,
pretty epic.
you know, we've talked about it. I don't think either of us would turn that down.
Uh,
Uh,
same.
and
Pretty nice.
you know, it's I'm sitting here like, you know what? Let's do it. Screw it. You know, I make a decision. I run with it. So I went out and I bought all the this stuff, and I have a whole recap, so I won't go through it. And I ended up making a costume.
Yeah.
Well, they decided to run this contest by who can garner the most likes on Facebook.
Right, right. I heard about that.
Yeah. So uh, let's talk about a bad way to run a contest where you can win $1,000 account.
Yeah. That's pretty, I mean,
Bullet point
there's nothing to
number
talk about. It
bullet
just
point
is.
A, Facebook. So needless to say, guys, I'll share. Everyone knows where this is. I'm not going to share this. Go to Facebook. You know, look up Crowfall in their little search box. You can see all of them. I mean, we have some just spectacular submissions. I mean, honestly, I think my favorite is by at Nick underscore Leeb, Leeb. So you can find these people on Twitter. This is
That's pretty solid
this
with
is this
the ranger costume.
so the Ranger costume. There's a couple of them. I really liked EERI. I don't even know how to pronounce. He's probably like
I
Norwegian.
found the confessor costume. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
uh, but I mean, we've got guy in the bathroom. I'm gonna say like a dorm maybe
Yeah.
with the cell
Looks
phone
pretty
selfie.
comfy.
He's like, you know what? I'm gonna rock this out. I swing a big dick. I can make this work. Uh,
Exactly.
you know, that's the best I can come up with. Um, and then let's see, what's the other one? Of course, check your track, which a few folks know of.
Yep.
Um, I keep checking. You know, people see this. I keep checking our chat box to see if any of these people are showing up. Check your track, who is pulling off the champion admirably. I think anyone in that particular situation would not be able to do a better job.
Exactly.
Let's see. There's a couple other names that I recognize. Mal on the Druid. If you want to see Mal with green hair, that's where you
Yeah.
go. Um, and then let's see. There's a few others that I recognize. Cryptic on his knight. It looks like he had just slain the what was the beast from Monty Python?
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
straight up. I mean, this guy just got done killing that rabbit,
That's cryptic.
and
That
that
looks
is
about
cryptic.
like what I expected him to look like.
He
If it's
he probably actually had to have a tripod take this picture. That might be the person who was supposed to take that picture, and he's like, "Nah, you keep screwing it up." uh, but yeah, I won't critique it too terribly. You're missing the red in front. And then Scarth, who, entertainingly enough, if you guys haven't seen Scarth's message to the devs on the general discussion, definitely do so. It's pretty entertaining, and he's put a whole lot of work into it. But Scarth has his own knight costume. I rock out Archon, one of the gods, and then there's this adorable, like 3-year-old kid in a ranger costume. Oh, he actually is 3 years old, which means he can't win. But congratulations on making your kid awesome and being the best parents in the world. So if you didn't do that and you have kids, you suck. But yeah, so they ran this contest on Facebook, and they opened up. I'm going to complain a little bit, not because of my submission, just in general. I think that this really could have been handled a lot better and will be detrimental in a few different ways. But they went ahead and started uploading submissions as they got them, so voting effectively was open,
Right.
which
Which is
actually
also bad.
it's bad. It actually deters people from submitting costumes. No one's going to start a costume in the last week because there's already people up there with 75 votes. And
Exactly.
so you can overcome some of that, but for me, I look at it and I say, all right, what Crowfall? Who are you targeting? Are you trying to target a new audience? Are you trying to grow the reputation, the brand of Crowfall? Because if you're trying to do that, this is kind of a cool idea, but where was the lead up? Where was the news? Where was, oh guys, you guys have 2 to 3 weeks. Go share this. Prepare. Get everyone out there.
Right.
Spread the word. Let's get 50 submissions. Let's get 100 submissions. Get into all of these different communities. Spread it around. There was none of that. It was hey guys, we're gonna do this, and then what was it, like 2 or 3 days later they started it, and people hopped right in.
I think, I mean, and they could have easily used this as an opportunity to release more lore or some concept art, to try and build the sort of lore of this world through their community, through some of the submissions. I definitely think it was, you could definitely describe it as a half-baked idea. They wanted to sort of generate some excitement, and it looks like someone was in a room and was like, what about a costume contest? And they were like, sure, go post something about it. And that's kind of how it came to be. It doesn't seem like there was a concerted effort or a I hesitate to say that I thought that that I would have thought they had done any kind of deeper analysis of like their motivations here. It just kind of happened.
The funny thing is that they actually put out their video with Todd kind of as their little promo for it, and that was how
Right.
they pitched it,
Yeah.
and that is how it has actually come across.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
they made fun of themselves for doing it that way, and to everyone else, it looks like they actually did it that way. Like this whole contest wasn't really supposed to be real. This is just to get screw with Todd. Maybe they were being serious. Maybe they weren't joking.
It's possible. I mean, and that's the thing. I won't lie. I can't. I know there are some people who I think are mad at them about it, and honestly, I don't care. If they want to give $1,000 for a stupid reason, that's their prerogative, and maybe it was just them trying to have a little fun.
Yeah.
But
and
it does, and maybe the cost of that is that some people stop taking them as seriously, and that that's
yeah,
that's life.
I think that the next time they try and do this, it needs to be a significant amount of time separated from right now, because
Right.
however many submissions they've got, I would almost guarantee most of them would never do this for Crowfall again on Facebook.
Exactly.
So that's rough, but and it's like you kind of touched on this. Maybe they're just doing it for fun. Maybe this was just something fun for the Crowfall community. If that's the case, why put it up on Facebook? Why try and do it this way? Because all you're gonna do is you're just gonna piss off people who really trying to compete.
Right.
I've already told folks, like, this is one of those things. When I first saw it, I was like, hey, cool, $1,000. There's only like 2 people entered. I'm gonna see if I can do this. I don't really particularly care. I have an account. I'm in alpha. I'm
Right.
playtesting the game. I was just going to, hook up people from my guild who couldn't afford the game. That was the extent of what I thought this could be, and I've already considered it a win. But I mean, there's some
Exactly.
people who put a lot of time and effort into some of these costumes, and they're going to look at these and say, this really wasn't fair. Why did I really even try this? This is how this operates? I mean, come on.
Right.
You know, if they wanted to do it, if they wanted to do it for their community, um, they should have. They should have
They
done
should have
it
done it
in the
that way.
community. They should have, yeah, put it up on the forums, put it up on, do all these other things,
That
and
is true to think that,
yeah,
it
let Crowfall's
they
staff
could have made a
decide.
poll on the
Yeah,
forums. Yeah, or they could have
here,
had the staff
pick the top
decide
three.
anything.
Community, pick the top three.
Right.
Go for it. You pick the top three. We'll select, who we like the best. We'll have our art guy cut off all the faces so we don't know who it is.
Right.
And yeah, we'll do it that way. So that was just one of those things where I looked at this and I said, guys, you made a great opportunity to do something fun for the community, um maybe make some new fans. And what it turned into was just a half-assed result where, the people who submitted, I don't think are going to particularly enjoy how this plays out. And I don't know that this is going to bring in a lot of new people either, because um, I just don't see how it's really getting anywhere. I mean, I don't know about you. Maybe you come from a different circle, but none of my friends, I mean, maybe two, care about Crowfall or online gaming or computer gaming. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
all of mine that do are busy playing games and not looking at a costume contest.
well,
So
yeah, or they know, or they already know about Crowfall because you told them about it during Kickstarter, or
exactly.
since then. I mean, come on.
They
Uh,
all backed it and then don't want to hear about it again until they can play it.
yeah, let
It's
me know.
pretty much what happened.
Is the game out? Can I log in yet? No. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let me know. When is it coming out? December 2016
Yeah,
ish.
and it's surprising how accurately that is what happened actually, because all of my friends, I have a lot of friends who backed it, and this might be why I was always in the camp, during conversations on Slack of like, maybe the community is not very active because people don't care right now, but all of my friends have just stopped. They get updates from me about it every so often, and then they're like, cool, can't wait to be in the alpha, go back to playing other games now.
Yeah.
And
Um,
so, yeah, I don't know.
yeah. But the game was so fun,
I don't
and you
even.
didn't
I
even get
don't
to
even.
play it.
I don't want to hear.
Let's
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
look at the screen. Look at the screen. All right, you got the little gold thing. All
I
right,
have the little gold
the
thing.
little gold
That
thing.
means next month.
Also, 3 stars.
3 stars. I'm a very average person.
I, honest to God, I don't even know where I'm at. I'm probably down below that by now. I've made so many friends. Oh, well. I'm not below that. I won't say anything else.
No,
Anyway.
I
Anyway.
I am so excited.
It's a lot of
I
fun.
love playing alphas for one thing. I have never been the kind to be frustrated by bugginess or whatever. As long as the one thing I want and the one thing I need is to be able to like talk to people while playing it. I
Yeah.
am such a non. I'm not a social gamer. I don't like social games, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't do games well alone.
I'm right there with you. I mean, honest to God, I have right now on my computer. I think I have Rome Total War, H1Z1, and League of Legends installed, and that's it. I haven't touched League of Legends in probably 6 months. I mean, what, 3 weeks after it went to pre-alpha, like everyone else, I just quit. Rome
Right.
Total War is just one of those. I can't let that go. And I mean, come on, everybody's got that game, whether it's like Age of Empires or Civilization.
Right.
We all have that game. And then League of Legends. it's just that game that I love because I am never going to be good at it, and it's just, man, you know what? I really want to go get my shit pushed in. I'm gonna go play League of Legends.
We could talk about MOBAs for a long time if needed. I was the such a huge fan of MOBAs for a long time. I played League of Legends. I played Dota. I played Heroes of New Earth before either of them. I played League of Legends, Dota 2. I have tried just about every single MOBA that has gone to beta.
Hmm.
Heroes of the Storm, I was in the pre-alpha. This new one from Namco, I was in alpha. Like so many, I love the concept, and I wish they weren't so frustrating and time consuming to play at times, because they all end up being these games where they've, despite not having like the you must log in once a day, they all feel like if you don't log in once a day, you're too far behind. Everyone has, more champions than you or more knowledge than you. There's such an investment. Oh my God.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, you really have to focus so much on the very minute details, and I enjoy the challenge, and I'm like you. I have to have people to game with, and so
Right.
for League of Legends, I don't enjoy playing solo, and then when I try playing with my friends, most of them are better than me because they've consistently played and I've inconsistently played. And so
Right.
that is one of those environments where you really just have to spend a whole lot of time. And I just don't have that. So they're still fun. I still think about it. I want to watch. I've been trying to get caught up on the LCS, but I mean, it's all for me just a way to pass time until we get a little bit more to dig our teeth into in
And
Crowfall.
Crowfall,
Yeah.
yeah. So speaking of Crowfall,
Yeah.
I've thought of a topic that I'm thinking might be relevant as we are maybe a few months out from Alpha, or from the, what is they call Hunger Dome 2.0, or the
Oh,
Test 2.0. I know.
1.1.
Well, no, we're like a few weeks from 1.1,
Yeah, yeah.
but so I had a thought the other day of, and this has been nagging on me since it was first announced. What are they gonna do with the AI in the game? Because we have NPCs, and they
Yeah.
say they want to make them, sort of scary, similar to The Walking Dead. And spoiler alert, we all know how scary those can be, because anyone who's watched in the past 3 days cried a little until they started reading fan theories online. Subtle hint. Um, Hashtag he lives. But it occurs to me that I don't think any game has done that well. Not only in a sense of, very few games are doing that with the AI in a multiplayer setting effectively,
Yeah.
but also not on the scale of Crowfall. I think the closest thing I can think of is like DayZ, and we know, if anyone has played DayZ, they know how awful those things can be, how ridiculous they can get. They
Oh
go
yeah.
all over the place. They're so buggy.
Oh yeah.
But if you imagine putting your traditional MMO NPC into the world, there's nothing scary or dangerous about those. They have aggro ranges. They don't clump up. They don't work together. They're all independent. Unless they are a designed group of
Hmm.
mobs, and that to me doesn't scare me. Doesn't make anything interesting. Not only all of that, but also, if they can't kill me and then loot me, I'm not in as much danger as I am from a player by a long shot. If they can just do a little damage to me and force me to keep walking, where is that gonna go? So
Yeah.
I think I'm interested to see what they do with it, because I feel that without some sort of, mobbing mechanic, without some sort of ability for the AI to really persistently dog you and persistently screw with you, I don't know where they're gonna go with it.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I have always been a big fan of challenging AI. I am not a fan of PvE,
Right.
but I want it to be dangerous in a PvP environment. One of the things that I always really enjoyed was the fact that, again, I'll go back to Darkfall, is there was a giant dragon that for the longest time, if you got within range of him, you were just going to die. You just were. And so, one of the last times I played Crowfall and remember in any sort of large PvP, we were going through the dragon, chasing somebody, and the dragon was after them because they entered his aggro range first. And so he's nuking them. We're chasing him. He's popping out. You carried your mounts, and so you're popping out your mounts, and he's hopping on new mounts. He's not dying, and then the dragon turns around and starts hitting us. Well, there's like 6 or 7 of us chasing this one guy, and because he was the last of another fight, but we start getting aggro. And when you get aggro from this guy, I mean, it only takes like, I want to say 4 or 5 hits and you're dead. And it's a pretty fast attack. Right. So then we have to like split up, and it just completely changes everything. So someone's still like following him, everyone else is dispersing. AI like that is amazing. It creates a new layer to PvP because now you have to take into account for it. It's like just an extension of the environment, and that is what I look for, and I have almost never got.
Yeah, I think it's something that we severely miss in a lot of games, which makes sense because AI is just hard to do. There's a reason why there's researchers everywhere trying to figure it out, all over the world, and then add to the fact that game AI is a completely different beast. They have to be not just smart, they have to be dumb in a believable way, and that is always a weird challenge to a game designer.
Yeah.
In general, I hate to say that I'm skeptical, but I really am, without hearing more about it. It's going to be hard, and it's not going to work if they don't come at it with a completely unique approach. I think because I think anything, any traditional aggro radius, do some damage to hits you, is not going to work. And then just making them like a one-shot kill as you walk by is not going to work either, because then it's just it's just a landmine, and landmines aren't as interesting as running into a horde of beasts and realizing your direction forward is cut off unless you can get lucky.
Yep.
I really, really want to see that be done well, and I hope that they can find a way to do that. Which added to why I always said that I really wished they had done the HP permanence concept, because I thought that would be another great, if the little hits you took could add up over time, that would be beautiful for a sense of monsters that whittle you, rather than kill you. But of course that is a topic that
there's a lot of different ways I think you could go with that. If you're running past certain groups, you could end up with a like a debuff that they drop on you. Doesn't do anything until somebody with the right damage. I'll get you set up.
It's okay.
OP user. There you go. That when somebody with the right damage hits you, it just creates that weight to, not just running through everything. So, there are ways to do it. Will they do it? Not likely. I think that they're going to play the safer route, focus most of their time and energy on the players, and AI will be
one of the last few things.
A placeholder. I mean, really, I think it's just going to be a placeholder. You're not going to see them. I don't think you're going to see anything too crazy or fun in the campaign worlds. Just, for better or for worse, they're focusing on the right things.
Yeah, and I think I would take a game to be fair. Disclaimer: I would take a game with fantastic large-scale PvP and no AIs over a game with shitty PvP and really good AIs. I'm not concerned, but I think it could add so much. When they first described the game, and I thought about, I am a huge fan of The Walking Dead, and I would love to see a game emulate that, and not the zombie, not DayZ, because what people who haven't gotten into The Walking Dead realize is that it becomes bigger. It becomes this world of surviving with your
Hmm.
armies while there's this dangerous sort of just energy out there.
Yeah.
There's this constant danger, and that makes for some seriously good experiences, great stories, good play. And
Oh
I
yeah.
would love to see a game
100%.
do that well.
100%. And an MMO do it well. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
some of these,
Exactly.
some of these FPS games. I mean, I've got a group of guys who are still playing Ark Survival, the dinosaur
The
survival game,
dinosaur one, yeah.
and they have these awesome stories where they're like, yeah, we were out here and we were trying to. We ran up on this group trying to capture a Tyrannosaurus Rex or tame it or whatever they do in that. And there was like 8 of them, so we kill all of them, and then we tame the T-Rex, and then we run into this other group, and I'm just sitting here, I'm like, man, that sounds kind of like fun. I'm
Right,
not buying the
exactly.
game, but it sounds kind of like fun. Uh,
Right.
get that in an MMO. Get that where you're actually sitting there and your friends are telling you stories about it, and hey, that's a cool story. That's a lot of fun. We can sit down and share that, and it's not just, oh yeah, I was able to luck out. I RNG'd my way to a full set of purple,
Right.
uh, you know,
Exactly.
Ascendance armor. It's like, God, nobody cares about that. How are you going to tell anyone about that? At least
Yeah.
with some of these PvP stories, you can say to your spouse, "Oh yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was 3 of us against 6 of them, and they tried running away, and we chased them down this hill, and we ended up kicking them off a cliff, and they died at the bottom." Look, that's still a cool story. You don't, I mean, as long as it wasn't like
Right.
actually in real life, it was a cool story. Um,
Exactly.
so, God, oh, by the way, down here in Texas, apparently somebody came across a guy in a haunted house attraction who had murdered and was eating a teenager or something who had gone to see the attraction. So, folks, don't go in those. This shit's fucking real.
Ooh,
Um,
that's
yeah,
that's rough.
that's out there. That's happening. Yeah, don't even look at the news from Argentina, man. Um,
Oh boy.
yeah, world
I
news right here on Crowns and Crows. But yeah, so I mean, AI. We're curious, hopeful, but I'm not terribly optimistic, just because, again, they have continued to hammer. First off, imagine what would happen if Crowfall came out and said, "No, no, no, guys, we're actually going to put a lot of time into our AI. We want to be fun and engaging." What would be the community response?
Oh,
The Doctor.
worst possible interpretation, obviously, is what it would be. And it would be, oh my God, this is step one. Next, they're gonna announce raids. It's all over. That is
Oh my
that is
gosh.
exactly. I mean, look, let's call someone out from the chat right now. Face Rip is already saying that PvE is nothing but a tax on players' time, which is a valid
Truth.
analysis of PvE in a pure PvE game. Or in one that uses that to distract you from the fun of PvP. But that's effectively saying that the monsters are useless to PvP is much like saying that the environment is useless. That maybe rocks are useless, or trees, or mountains. They're all taxes on your time because they prevent you from fighting people. And so I think we know that the extreme response, as is common on the internet, is going to be all negative. I
Yeah. Oh
imagine
yeah.
that.
100%.
I would love if Hunger Dome 2.0 involved some monsters for some danger. I would love that. But I wouldn't be
Monsters that you
surprised if
really
they
can't
didn't
kill.
touch.
Like, yes, you
Yeah,
can
just
kill
things that are
them,
that
but you
things that
won't.
sort of add a random element of danger to the area, not just the players.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. Viking Nail said that news story was bogus. So I am going to share the Argentinian story because I believe that one is real, and want to share some not relevant news. So yeah, there's a guy down in Argentina. His sister-in-law was just um, dismissed from a case because he had killed his parents, had sex with the corpses, ate part of his dad, and then burned the bodies and then buried them in various spots around the backyard and in pots and all this other stuff. And she helped him with the disposal and said that it was because she was scared he was going to kill them. And yes, so suck on that, Viking. I'm pretty sure that's a real story. This shit's crazy. Don't go to Argentina.
So, wow, that's
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you think they're going to talk about next? I mean, they've kind of they've hit on the champion. They maybe rule sets for Hunger Dome 1.1.
well, we know they're not going to talk about incentivizing the players, except to say that it's not important.
What winning doesn't matter to anyone.
Or it does. I don't know. I can't tell.
I can't
Either
really
it matters
tell.
to everyone,
Wait,
and then
should
don't
we
have to worry
care
about it.
about the resources that we get from the campaign, or should we not care? I'm really confused. What?
I know, and I wish maybe I'll reiterate what I've said before in chats, because I imagine that I'll compliment your ego and say that maybe you actually have devs watching your show once in a while, and so maybe they can hear me eloquently say that incentivizing good play is really, really important, and that is probably still my big fear for the game, because really, if you think about it, it's the difference between players. You know, people get caught up on a certain layer of this, but number one, you need to draw in people,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, you need to draw in enough people, and then on top of that, you need to draw in people who know how to play or want to play correctly.
Yep.
It's not just as simple as will there be a big enough community, because sure, they probably will. Even the 16,000 backers, if every one of them played, would be enough to make the game run.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if you imagine that like a good 30% of those are just going to want to dick around, that's not what creates the engaging content.
Yep. Exactly.
Fighting, as much as everyone jokes about it, fighting scrubs and stomping noobs is entertaining, but doesn't last anyone, ages on ages. What keeps people playing for months on end is knowing that there's somebody actually competing for the win and you need to beat them.
Well, and here's the thing, though, is you will get the folks, and there's a lot of them in the Crowfall community who will say, no, I don't mind. I just like going out there and, screwing with people. You have that. I am sure that, as you're saying,
Sure.
Yeah, you're just saying it's like, oh, yeah, you have devs like Blixdev, that's Thomas Blair, so they heard you. But as I'm sure that they have the numbers for, you just estimate that, 10% of your population is just there to screw with people. I mean, that's just,
Right.
and so, look, they know they can't incentivize those guys to play in any way other than the way they're going to play. Nothing you can do about it. But you and I have talked about this at great detail. If you design a game where your reward incentivizes you to play the way you want them to play,
Right.
then you don't have to try and come up with gimmicks to get people to
Exactly.
play the way you want them to play to accomplish what the game is built to accomplish. And the sandbox environments are great, but at the end of the day, it really boils down to a competition, people just wanting to go off and do their own thing, or people who just want to go and screw with other people and harvest tears. They've got
and no one-
lots of empty
no one
bottles.
says
We need to
that
fill these
those-
bottles.
Exactly, and I don't want those people. What people I think also forget is putting in a good incentive structure doesn't deter the people who just want to fuck around. They can still do it. They can still go and just camp noobs all day long. But and there's people like us, like most of the people on Slack, who are hugely into winning, and they're going to fight over those objectives, and they're going to PTFO, play the fucking objective, obviously. But I don't want to just always fight against you and Scribbles and Headlight and whoever. I want to fight against new people, and I want the maybe 20 to 60% of people who would play well, but they don't really feel like it matters, that would add so much to the game. We've all played a game like, we've all played a shooter where someone just sat in a corner camping, or played Battlefield and half your team was snipers and no one took the objectives.
What?
Or played a
No,
MOBA,
no.
or played
I'd never,
a MOBA.
I'd never do that. How dare you?
Never ever do that. Or played a
How dare
MOBA
you.
and saw people tower dive to death or feed.
What?
These are all people who have detracted from the experience, because no one ever goes into a MOBA or any of these games and says, man, what I want is to just be frustrated, or to have someone on my team. And because that's what people forget, is sometimes these people are on your team, and that's never as fun as when you're camping those people.
And what it comes down to is, yes, as as we said, they're going to be there's the people, there are the communities. That's what they love doing, and they're going to do that regardless of anything you do.
Right.
But what you do is you design the game to accommodate and reward folks for playing the way that will create a healthy environment for the casual gamer. The people, casual gamers, I am sure, make up the majority of every single game's profit in terms of substitutions and such. Yeah.
Because everyone hates the word casual, but I think that there's sort of an in between. There's those people who really love a game. But
I shouldn't have said casual.
I know. No, I'm with you. I understood what you meant, but I'm clarifying.
I should have said pseudo hardcore. Viking.
Pseudo hardcores.
Hook a brother up. Give us the pseudo hardcore sign. We need an official symbol for it.
Because I think there are a ton of people who love a game, but they aren't in the 5,000 person guild, and they aren't in the people, they don't have the forums where they jump on, but they still want to go in and they want to play against people who are playing the objectives. I think that's a simple, a relatively reasonable request. Is to say, I would love to play the objectives. I would love to go in and siege someone and have them defend. We don't want another Guild Wars 2 World v World where everyone just rotates, because, that's a great example, actually, is Guild Wars 2 World v World. You get more points and loot and rewards for taking an objective than you do for holding it. This is where the people who say, well, it doesn't matter what the incentives are, forget the nuances, because that led to everyone just rotating and no one ever defended. You go in, you attack, you take it, you move on. And if people want that to be the case, then don't put any concern into incentives. But it's all kinds of stuff like that. As we've said before, there's the issue of the embargoes. You have these embargoes to put resources in, and that sounds great. But if I'm the guild who doesn't care about resources, then I don't put anything in there, because I'm stronger in the campaign if I don't have resources in there. And then the people who do put resources in there don't win anyway, so they're not going to get any. So then they stop getting resources. And then ultimately, no one's using the embargo.
Why do you have the system? You spent all this time designing the system, and again, it comes back to, you're creating gimmicks to get people to do what you want them to do, when if you had spent the time to account for it, and gosh, in no way am I saying this is easy. Really, in no way am I saying this is easy. But I think it's important. I think that a good number of gamers are being turned off to video games, and they're being turned off to video games because the games are not accounting for these sorts of things. The competitive, I should have said competitive instead of hardcore. You want to target the competitive audience. If you can get the competitive audience engaged in what you want them to do by creating challenging and rewarding results, then you don't have to worry about the casuals, because they can still interact with and associate with the competitive gamers, while some of these other guys who they're just that 10%. They're the group that hey, we're just out here to have fun and do our own thing. Screw you guys. We'll kill the server, but we had fun doing it.
Even look back to what you mentioned about League of Legends. I know everyone hates League for very good reasons. I can't stand the community.
Let's roll out that list.
But let's look at it. It's got millions and millions of players, or even Dota 2. Whether if people want to pick one or the other, MOBAs have these millions of players. And they range from everything from a handful of buddies at work who get together and fail 90% of the time to people playing for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And you know what? All
Tens of
of them
millions
play
now.
for the objectives.
Yeah.
All of
Oh
them
yeah.
go in and I correct myself, not all of them. Obviously, we have feeders, we have whatever, but like a huge chunk
Oh
of
yeah.
people, this massive community of people is going and they go into a game with a social contract and they
Yeah.
understand what they're doing because they know intuitively that there's win and
Yeah.
the win leads
It's
them closer to that
it's
$10 million,
in
whether
those
or not they
games.
believe they'll really get there. And
It,
that's the thing. There are so many people who, sorry, I'm talking over you, but
keep
there are
going.
so
Keep
many
going.
people
Trust me, I'm used to it.
so many people who are competitive because it's a human quality,
Oh yeah.
but they don't have the time to get into the competition. And so if the game incentivizes people to be competitive without having to become a part of a 5,000 person community and then read the forums to see who their latest enemy is and then make friends and contracts and all that, if the game can get you in and get you to understand what your goal is, that's how you get millions of players.
Yep. Well,
That's how it happens.
and one of the things that the MOBAs have going for them is that your teams are a very personal experience. So
Right.
if one or two of the people on your team are not willing to work with you, I mean, there's three people, outside of them. I mean, it's a very personal thing. You are forced to work with them. That creates a slightly different environment than MOBAs. MOBAs, you can kind of blend into the background, and you can just be that,
Right.
that gray face out on the internet. And so what that means is it's more difficult. They have to spend that much more time where they say, all right, how do we marginalize that 10%? League of Legends and some of the other MOBAs have done a great job. I mean, feeders are demonized. I mean, if you feed, I mean,
Right.
that's universal. You don't see a whole lot of famous YouTube guys who simply just grief their team. There are
Right.
some,
Exactly.
by all means, there are some. There's a couple of them very popular. They just grief people, but they also will play competitively. Usually they just get set off and they need medication. But in MMOs, you don't have that kind of personal effect. So when somebody does do that griefing, you can't respond as well. If they
Exactly.
can find a way to continue to keep the motivation level high for everyone, the casual, the competitive, if they're able to keep that motivation level high, that at least helps marginalize the folks who decide, even though we have all of this incentive to do this, boom.
Yeah.
If you're not going to, you're just off to you're an outcast. You're off to the side. Yeah, have fun.
Exactly.
Congratulations. You screwed everyone up out of their thing. No one wants to play with you anymore.
Because we all read that play to crush. We want to fight. We want our decisions to matter.
Yeah.
But our decisions don't matter if the dude you killed was just running around, dicking around anyways. Like what? That doesn't matter. That's not. When they compare it to Eve and The Walking Dead and these various other things, all of these things are defined by these games where tons and tons of people care deeply about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not just because they're cool or because they're hardcore, but because it's life or death to them.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of play you try and incentivize. It's so many, I think, and the tough thing is that so many in the community don't want to push for that from the developers.
Yeah.
The developers are kind of sort of waffling on the whole concept. They haven't gone into much detail about the incentives, and I think that that's partly because their community doesn't want them to, because everyone assumes that when you say incentives, you mean give me points or give me trophies or
Yeah.
but it comes down to simple things like the stuff that everyone already expects to get, and that's what I hope they can really think about is when we know there's probably going to be a mode where holding cities is how you win. Make sure that holding cities actually contributes to winning in a way that encourages interesting combat and interesting fights and interesting experiences.
Waffle on nothing. Oh man. Yeah. I agree. So when it comes to some of these elements where they just won't give us a definitive answer, part of it I have been told to my face, we just don't know. We don't know. We're not there
That's
yet.
true.
We have to get this other stuff done before we can even get there.
Right.
That
And
being
that is
said,
fair.
that
That's
being
so
said,
fair.
uh, I mean, there's going to be what has happened, and I have followed so many games through development that I have been I've been very jaded towards every MMO that's come out since
Right.
2008, 2007. I mean, 2007. I mean, so the past 8 years, I have had a very pessimistic outlook, and I've been optimistic about Crowfall. I've taken on a lot of, projects trying to
Right.
continue to generate and not only do great for the community that I represent. Some of it I enjoy doing, the podcast I enjoy doing, but also if you're passionate about something, you want it to succeed. So I want to see Crowfall succeed. The thing that I
Absolutely.
see as the typical pitfall is you get to a point where you look at, well, what do we have left to do? Oh, we need to tie together the EKs and the campaigns.
Right.
And, well, we've already got all this stuff together, so we really can't, because if it wasn't there from the start, you can't just add it.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know from the little bits we've heard about, um that the designers in particular at Artcraft have a lot of thoughts on their mind that they haven't revealed yet, and they are thinking deeply about everything. Honestly, it wouldn't concern me so much if it wasn't for, and I'll just be upfront and frank, if it wasn't for uh uh JTC's comments in the Q&A videos, where he sort of seems to shrug the question off like it's not important. It'd be different. I feel like I'd have a more optimistic view about it if it was like, we understand what you're
Yeah.
asking us, and we will get to that eventually. But
Yeah.
it does sometimes feel like they're just like, no, 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 no. We've got the hardcore community. It's gonna be fine. These guys definitely want to do stuff. And that's what I think is my biggest worry. Um, Ultimately, I am optimistic though. I remain optimistic because, for no other reason than these devs have done a lot that I'm happy for. They have a great development process. They're iterating fast enough that they can learn these things, and they can see how it evolves. They've already
Yeah.
got almost 50 people in these matches, and so it's a short matter of time before you have more than that. And I'm sure that they're going to experience a game mode where people aren't playing for the objective, and they have to figure out why.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I think we'll get there. I like to overanalyze all the negatives, but let me be honest. I am super optimistic about Crowfall.
Well, and
I have a lot of belief in these guys.
that's what I always finish all of these conversations with whenever I have, because, I mean, a lot of the people that I get to listen to in Crowfall are not always the most positive. And
No,
at
no
the end of the
way.
day, I look at what they have said about the game. And they said, you know what, we are going to focus on combat because we believe combat is the most important element of a PvP game. I agree. They want it to be rewarding. They're focusing on making combat rewarding. And then they've added some of this other stuff to deal with other elements. The EKs they added for persistence. Something that you can still have from match to match, and it's not just an FPS where you just log in, log out, and nothing really changes. So it gives you that the ability to progress if you want to do that and want to engage in that. And so I have talked to these guys. I've been lucky, blessed to be able to sit down and pick their brains. I want to know more about games,
Right.
design, all of this stuff. It fascinates me. And at the end of the day, their approach to designing the game Crowfall is why I support them. Is because
Exactly.
their approach, I don't always agree with all their decisions on, you know, honestly, a number of things, but at least their approach to designing the game is something that I can believe in. And as
Exactly.
long as that remains true, I'll always end these conversations with, but I trust them. If
Yeah.
that changes, I'm a vocal person. I don't know if anyone's picked up on
Yeah.
that. I
Exactly.
let
No,
people know.
and that's exactly what I think. I had a conversation with someone recently, and I went over like, here's all the things that I think could go wrong with what I've heard so far, and then but I end it with like, but their approach, their process is good, and their process will discover these issues if I'm right. And that's what it comes down to. Honestly, I think the reason it bothers me so much is because I would kill to be in there with Todd and Blair and them discussing these things. I
Yeah.
would love to be working there doing this design. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's why
Oh,
that's why I come off so maybe
they.
harsh about
Yeah.
it, because I wanna have these
Well, we
discussions
want
with
to get
them.
in there. We want to get in there. We really do. I mean, and, again, so for those who don't know, I mean, the doctor and I, we sit here and we have our own, private conversations where we just talk game design. It's a fascinating element for us. And when we have something like this where they're open, they're talking, they're not just talking about, oh yeah, we're going to be designing this new archetype and here's his powers and enjoy this artwork. All right, guys, goodbye, we're going to take off. Or they'll sit down, they'll talk about how they're setting up their servers, they'll talk about where their servers are, cloud infrastructure. Here's this back end design, here are these founders
Right.
updates about how we're running the company. Guys, this is just, we're kids in a candy shop right now. It's so much fun.
Exactly.
And
I
yeah.
I can say that I have never been as engaged in the development and the design of a game as this one, because of the fact that I feel like we're actually being let in on the process a bit.
Yeah.
So many times they come out and I can spend hours with friends discussing them in the aftermath, but here we see that they are actually, curious. They want to know how things work. They're not just they came out with a design and are like, here, it's coming out in a few years.
Yep.
Complain about it, but that's that.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I like the feeling that they're actually working through this. That there's a design here that comes from people with a lot of experience and a lot of success.
Yep. I agree. Well, we've made it, let's see, about an hour, everything considered, and yeah, I think we've concluded that Crowfall makes us, it touches us in all those important places.
Gets me all hot and bothered.
There you go. Guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate all of the interaction. A big hello to Gordon and Blickstev there for watching. Appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work, and if we have to do this like they did in The Dark Knight, give us a broken off pool cue, and he and I will fight for that corner office.
Yeah, exactly.
But guys, thank you. The Doctor, follow him on. What do you want people to follow you on? Throw out some stuff. Give us the digits.
Where have I been doing stuff lately? I've been with work. Work has been so
Work?
insane that I've barely been online.
I don't think anybody wants your work email.
I know exactly.
You'll be back at some point.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitch. I have a Facebook page with like 12 likes, I think. But yeah, you can generally find it on my. If you go to my Twitch page, I think it links everywhere. So just click on my name in the chat.
There you go.
And then, there you go.
There you go. All right, guys, follow us here. Follow us on Twitter. I believe we're Crowns and Crows as well.
Oh, I should have totally had my channel show your channel.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Well, yeah. And
forgot that's a
you
feature.
have a massive following, don't you?
Oh yeah, I think 49 whole followers.
Oh my
That's pretty
God.
great.
Yeah, I should have hooked us up. Yeah, it's fine. It's more than my actual channel has. But yeah, guys, this has been a blast. The Doctor, thank you for joining, and hope to get you back on here sometime. Work different hours.
Glad I could head out. Maybe if you move to the West Coast.
Maybe
to
if
the
you,
East.
why don't you move to Austin? You should move to Austin. We'll find you some work here.
Well,
And-
maybe Gordon or Blair can pull out my resume again. And the hiring decisions.
Oh, come on. Yeah, raise your hand if you haven't sent Artcraft a resume. I mean, come on. Yeah, that's what I thought. we'll pick this up again. I'll figure out who we're going to bring on next week. I have a few options, I think. But guys, thank you. This is Crowns and Crows signing off. Have a great week.
Peace.